Good evening and welcome. This is the India Today Newsroom. I'm Rahul Kamal. We've got breaking news coming in right at the top of Newsroom tonight. Maharashtra's Industry Minister Subhash Desai has blown apart the defense put up by his colleague Eknath Khadse. Eknath Khadse so far had been claiming that the land in Bhosari and Pune, which was acquired by him, was owned by a private individual, Abbas Sukhani. But the Industry Minister, who's a Shiv Sena man, has come on record to say that this was land owned by the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. Make no mistake, this is a clear case of conflict of interest. Eknath Khadse was the state's revenue minister. All compensation claims are accorded in accordance with the decisions taken by the revenue ministry. At that time, instead of helping the person who'd come to him seeking compensation, Khadse usurped the land for himself and for his family. This now has been confirmed by Khadse's own colleague, Subhash Desai.
मी त्याच्याबद्दल खुलासा केलेला आहे. भोसरी MIDCची जागा ही MIDCचीच आहे. 1962 साली म्हणजे इतक्या पूर्वीच्या काळामध्ये त्या जमिनीचं वाटप झालेलं आहे. तिथे कारखाने चालू आहेत. ते MIDCने ती जमीन कारखान्यांना देऊनच टाकलेली आहे. त्यामुळे आता त्याच्यामध्ये MIDCला काही करता येण्यासारखी भूमिका नाही.
Eknath Khadse's sole defense totally blown apart, not by a TV channel, not by journalists, but by his own ministerial colleague. Can he continue? But the man who has to take this decision, Devendra Fadnavis, not once, not twice. We accosted him 3 times over. 26th of May, 27th of May, 29th of May, all 3 times. Devendra Fadnavis not stopping to answer questions about his colleague Eknath Khadse, instead walking away. Take a look, listen very carefully. Eknath Khadse's allegations coming to haunt the Maharashtra Chief Minister. He's avoiding our cameras, pacing away, not wanting to answer these charges.
So have you taken any action in MIDC? So have you taken any action in MIDC?
On the Newsroom tonight, we will tell you the story of a 90-year-old man who went to the Maharashtra Revenue Minister in the hope of getting justice, in the hope of getting compensation, which he said had been denied to him for 40 years. But instead of helping the Aam Aadmi who came to him, Eknath Khadse usurped that land, paid him much lesser than the market value. The market value is roughly 40 crores. Eknath Khadse paid him 3.75 crores and took the land for himself, for his wife and for his son-in-law, clinching evidence of a clear case of conflict of interest. But before that, here are the top 10 headlines at 10 p.m. tonight. Fresh controversy over Sonia Gandhi's son-in-law Robert Vadra being linked to Benami property in London. BJP MP Kirit Somaiya writes to the government seeking an enforcement directorate probe. Big African outrage. Dozens of expatriates from African countries protest alleged race-motivated attacks in Delhi. Government meets African envoys, promises prompt action. Anger protests and a police complaint. AIB comedian Tanmay Bhatt faces ire over his Snapchat video mocking Bharat Ratnas Lata Mangeshkar and Sachin Tendulkar. Mumbai cops approach Google, Facebook and YouTube to pull down the offensive video.
Just wanted to talk about this story I read today about Vinod. He said that Virat Kohli is 10 times better than me.
You know, Sachin, I also personally think that Virat is a better batsman.
Fresh revelations in the Khadse land deal row. India Today unmasks a clear conflict of interest. The minister had tried to cash in on the landowner's desperation for compensation. BJP remains split on ousting the minister. Widespread pre-monsoon showers and flooding across large parts of India. Country awaits the much-anticipated southwestern monsoon in the midst of reports of a delayed landfall. Gross medical negligence in Indore's biggest civil hospital. 2 children are dead after being administered nitrous oxide instead of oxygen. Jungle Raj redux in Bihar. Spate of murder, extortion and kidnappings reported from the state. 2 businessmen are murdered in broad daylight. Woman held hostage by a moneylender. Big India Today impact. Persecuted Pakistani Hindu girl Mashal Maheshwari, said to be a doctor. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj offers her a medical seat in Karnataka after India Today aired her plight.
Due to the media and India Today channel, we gave the live interview to them, and it helped us convey our problem to them. So we are very thankful to the media persons and India Today channel.
Killer turn to fresh migrant rush to reach European shores. Up to 700 migrants feared drowned in a series of shipwrecks off the coast of Libya. Thousands rescued by Italian authorities. Despite narrowly missing IPL trophy, Virat Kohli remains the top choice as Team India skipper says. Ravi Shastri, the dashing former cricketer, says he's ready to coach the men in blue.
Should Virat be given the job across all formats?
I think so. If I'm the chairman of the selectors, I would be thinking in that fashion. No question about that.
And you think Virat is ready to take over all formats?
Absolutely. And do you have a guy ready? So my answer is you have a guy ready.
Last year, a 90-year-old man, Abbas Ukani, a resident of Kolkata, approached Maharashtra Revenue Minister Eknath Khadse. His plea was that he'd been denied compensation, he claimed, for a plot of land acquired by the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation way back in 1971. He was anxious to get the minister to help him. Now, Eknath Khadse is the state's revenue minister. All compensation goes through him. Instead of helping this Aam Aadmi in distress, Eknath Khadse smelt a business opportunity. He got Abbas Ukani to sell this land to his family members. Khadse's wife and his son-in-law bought this land from this 90-year-old man. Now, this conflict of interest has been clinchingly demonstrated by the documents that India Today has been able to put together. From the land lease documents on this plot of land, it's plot number 52/2A in Bhosari in Pune, from where we found out that this land is owned by the MIDC. Now, Khadse's own colleague, and listen very carefully to what I'm saying, Khadse's own colleague and the state's Industries Minister Subhash Desai has come on record with India Today and confirmed that this land is owned by the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, not by Abbas Ukani, essentially meaning that Eknath Khadse grabbed the land belonging to the government, sold it somehow to himself, got the land registry records changed, sold it to himself in the hope of making a killing. This is an India Today investigation follow-up.
It is this 3-acre plot of land in Bhosari near Pune that Maharashtra Revenue Minister is alleged to have bought illegally. Eknath Khadse has so far maintained that he did no wrong, even asking for proof to be produced.
मी टीव्हीवर सांगितलं, तुम्ही ऐकलं असेल. मी म्हटलं एक पुरावा सांगा की 30 कोटीच्या, 50 कोटीच्या, 100 कोटीच्या, 500 कोटीच्या. एक पुरावा इथं आणा म्हटलं या टीव्हीवर. एका मिनिटात राजकारण सोडून देईल म्हटलं. मंत्रिपद काय लावलं, राजकारण सोडून देईल.
Here's proof that clearly establishes Khadse's conflict of interest. The lease agreements of the same plot accessed by India Today show that the land is owned by the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation or MIDC, and 12 industries are currently operating from this very plot.
ये ज़मीन हम लोग 2015 में लिया है. ये हम लोग फ्रेंड्स इंजीनियरिंग प्राइवेट लिमिटेड ये कंपनी से लिया, फ्रेंड्स इंजीनियरिंग से, और विजन टूल्स एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के नाम पे लिया है.
How did Eknath Khadse then manage to get land in the name of his wife and son-in-law? India Today has learned that in March this year, the 90-year-old owner of the land in Bhosari had gone to Eknath Khadse requesting help with compensation. Khadse admits that he did meet Ukani.
When India Today spoke to Revenue Minister Eknath Khadse, he accepted that the original owner of the said MIDC land approached him with a complaint that even after 44 years, he hasn't received the compensation for the land which was acquired by MIDC 44 years before. Now after that, as a revenue minister, he called for a meeting with the MIDC and the revenue officials, but rather than solving the complainant's problem, what Eknath Khadse did is to ask his wife and son-in-law to buy that particular land directly from the complainant.
A rattled Eknath Khadse met the Maharashtra Chief Minister today, and while Devendra Fadnavis has so far maintained stoic silence on Khadse, the BJP finally came out in his support.
जिस जमीन को लेकर ये सारा विवाद खड़ा किया जा रहा है, ये जमीन 1968 में 1968 में एक्वायर करने की एक नोटिस MIDC ने निकाली थी, लेकिन इसका एक्विजिशन की प्रोसेस आज तक पूरी नहीं हुई.
The chorus for Khadse's resignation is growing, and from within. The BJP's ally, the Shiv Sena, has now contested the revenue minister's claim that the land in Bhosari was not acquired by the MIDC.
मी त्याच्याबद्दल खुलासा केलेला आहे. भोसरी MIDCची जागा ही MIDCचीच आहे. 1962 साली म्हणजे इतक्या पूर्वीच्या काळामध्ये त्या जमिनीचं वाटप झालेलं आहे आणि तिथे कारखाने चालू आहेत. ते MIDCने ती जमीन कारखान्यांना देऊनच टाकलेली आहे. त्यामुळे आता त्याच्यामध्ये MIDCला काही करता येण्यासारखी भूमिका नाही.
A Congress delegation too met the Maharashtra governor demanding Khadse's ouster, and the heat is only mounting on the embattled revenue minister of Maharashtra.
48 आवर्स हम मुख्यमंत्री जी को देंगे. अगर ये 48 आवर्स में एक्शन नहीं आती, एटलीस्ट उनका रेजिग्नेशन आना चाहिए, क्योंकि पेंडिंग इंक्वायरी नो मिनिस्टर कैन कंटिन्यू टू होल्ड हिज पोस्ट.
As proof against Khadse piles up, the question is, will the Maharashtra revenue minister be shown the door anytime soon? With Pankaj Khelkar in Pune and Sahil Joshi in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
My colleague in India Today is Mumbai Bureau Chief Sahil Joshi is joining me on this broadcast. In a moment from now, I'll go across to him. But before that, I want to take our viewers through the anatomy of this land grab. Because remember, this is totally brazen. The state's revenue minister usurping government land. Simply not done. Let me explain to you this whole land grab in 10 very simple points. It was in 1971, on the 26th of October, that the Maharashtra government acquired this plot of land in Pune under section 32(1) of the MIDC Act. 44 years later, in June 2015, Abbas Ukani, who till then hadn't complained, so his complaint itself is very suspicious, he said that I haven't received compensation for this plot of land. This man by this time is already 90 years old. He sold the land 44 years ago. Then the Maharashtra Law Department says that compensation should be paid to Ukani. There is a file which Khadse is showing which has the Law Department saying that compensation should be paid to Ukani. In August 2015, Ukani moves the court. However, so far, nothing has happened in court. The hearing is yet to begin. Then in March 2016, this year, Ukani meets Khadse in Mumbai, seeks his help in securing compensation. He is going to his state's revenue minister saying, I have this plot of land, I am not getting compensation, can you help? Instead of helping Ukani, what Khadse says is, I will buy this land from you and I will pay you money. Remember, he's offering to pay only 3.75 crores for a plot of land that today is worth at least 40 crore rupees. Khadse then, misusing his position as the state's revenue minister, calls a meeting of the MIDC and revenue officials. Remember, this land by now is already in the name of the MIDC, but Khadse is calling a meeting of the MIDC and revenue officials. He says the MIDC tells him on record on the 4th of April 2016 that this land belongs to the government and that compensation issues, if there's a dispute over compensation, that compensation should be paid to Ukani. This is what the MIDC says. However, instead of listening to what the MIDC is saying, Khadse's wife and son buy this plot of land from Ukani, which they can't do because that land belongs to the government. It doesn't belong to Ukani. Then point number 10, on the 28th of April 2016, Khadse's wife and son-in-law buy this plot of land from Abbas Ukani. As revenue minister, Khadse's department is supposed to pay the compensation. A direct case of conflict of interest. I want to show once again Devendra Fadnavis. Sahil Joshi and his reporters chase Devendra Fadnavis. He's usually very accessible to the media, always willing to comment on everything that's happening in his state. 3 times over, he's folding his hands, walking away, refusing to answer these very, very grave charges. Why is it that Devendra Fadnavis has lost his voice? What's going on, Sahil?
Maybe that is the reason why today finally the BJP spokesperson had to come forward and tried to defend what Khadse has done, though he kept saying only one thing, what Khadse has already tried to told media, that the land does not belong to MIDC and MIDC did not complete the procedure of acquiring that particular land. So today, finally, Eknath Khadse went and met with Devendra Fadnavis. The actual meeting was actually supposed to be for the Rajya Sabha candidates and the Maharashtra Legislative Council candidates, finalizing the list of that. But with that, Eknath Khadse also briefed Chief Minister and kind of also demanded that the part, it's looking as if that the party is not behind him when these kind of allegations are being made against him. So finally, the Chief Minister and the state president of BJP asked the chief spokesperson of BJP to take a press conference and defend Eknath Khadse.
No, but that defense, Sahil, that defense is also totally bogus. I want to go across to Madhav Bhandari. He's joining us on this broadcast. He's the BJP spokesperson in Maharashtra. I have just explained to my viewers how this plot of land, which the state's industry minister says belongs to the MIDC. Now tell me, Mr. Bhandari, whom do I believe? किस पे विश्वास करें हम? महाराष्ट्र का इंडस्ट्रीज मिनिस्टर कहता है कि ये MIDC की जमीन है, इसको कोई प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल नहीं खरीद सकता. एकनाथ खड़से कहता नहीं, ये मेरी जमीन है. हमारे पास लीज अग्रीमेंट है दिखाते हुए कि MIDC उस जमीन को पिछले 30 साल से वहां पे 12 कंपनियां काम कर रही हैं, 30 साल से वहां पे काम चल रहा है, और एकाएक आपका रेवेन्यू मिनिस्टर जाके उस जमीन को खरीद लेता है. क्या हो रहा है सर महाराष्ट्र में?
मुझे आशा है कि आप मुझे बोलने देंगे.
जी जी, बेशक बेशक.
जो बात हमारे उद्योग मंत्री जी ने कही है, इट वॉज अ कैजुअल रिमार्क and I am sure that he has not seen all the papers. Otherwise, a very studious and very decent minister like Subhash Desai, he would not have made that comment. In the evening, I had furnished the related documents to all the media persons, and one thing is there, one thing is that very clear, that there is no any legal standing for MIDC in this land. Let me clarify one thing. The MIDC issued a
I'm sorry, sir. You cannot dismiss. You cannot dismiss as a casual comment a statement made by the state's industry minister. Santosh Desai is very clear. He says that Subhash Desai says that this is government land. This is MIDC land. You cannot dismiss this as a casual comment.
Let me talk. Let me talk. If you are if you are not allowing me to talk, I am here to put my case. I am not here to hear only.
Go on, I am waiting for you.
If that is clear, I will talk ahead.
Go ahead.
I will talk forward.
Go ahead.
See, one thing is there. MIDC had issued a notification for acquisition of this land in 1968, but till today, the acquisition process has not been completed. There are minimum 2 reports of 2012, not 2014 or 16. In 2012, the CEO of the MIDC has put it on the record that this land does not belong to MIDC because the acquisition process has not been completed. So I had raised 2-3 questions today. From the 1968 or 1970s till today, MIDC plotted this land, created some plots, sold out these plots to some industries. The industries came up there. How this happened? And how did they manage to sell the land which was not in their name?
Sir,
MIDC has not paid a single pie to the landowner.
No, okay, can I tell you, Madhav Bhandari, sir, can I tell you, sir, what your own state department's law department, what your own state government's law department told Abbas Suqani when this complaint was brought up, that you must pay the land, you must pay the compensation for this land to Abbas Suqani and his family. What gives the state's revenue minister the right to misuse his position? As the state's revenue minister, the department that decides on compensation takes the land from a person who's come seeking help. Let's assume for a moment that he didn't get the compensation he wanted. He came seeking help. Your job in the government should have been to give him the help he wanted, to pay him the compensation he demanded. Instead, you've used your clout to buy that land. this is a clear case of conflict of interest. He's the state's revenue minister.
Very much clear. The person who sold this land, he was trying to sell his land from 2010. And I will show you the documents.
Yes. And in 2010, when he sold his land, the person to whom this land was being sold did his due diligence and came to the conclusion that this is government land. We've researched this story thoroughly. In 2010, when this person, Abbas Ukani, tried to sell the land, the original person to whom the land was being sought to be sold did research and said this is land that belongs to the MIDC. I want to show our viewers what's happening on that plot of land at this time. Let me take you through that, because for the past 30 years, remember, the claim that Abbas Ukani makes that he wasn't paid compensation is actually not necessarily true. The MIDC says they've lost documents about whether compensation was paid because that was 40 years ago. But for the past 30 years, that plot of land is being used. Let me take you through that one by one. That's the plot of land there. So you see, that's plot number 52/2A, Bhosari in Pune, the one that's marked out in fluorescent. For the past 30 years, 12 industries have been functioning in this plot of land, which was bought by Eknath Khadse. These industries have been coming up over the last 30 years. Remember, it's only in 2010 when suddenly this man wakes up and says, I haven't been paid compensation. In 2015, he goes to the court. But for 30 years, industries have functioned over there. All the leases are in the name of the MIDC. We've gone personally to some of the companies that are functioning over there. All the leases are with the MIDC. Now, some of these companies are Loyali Industries, Deepak Machinery, Sandesh Metal and Art, Tiff Blast. These are just some of the 12 companies that are functioning over there. For 30 years, Mr. Bhandari, this land is being used to run industries. Different companies are coming and going. All the registry is in the name of the MIDC.
That's what
now,
I'm asking.
Suddenly you are saying that this is not MIDC land?
That's what the same question I'm asking. Yes, that's the same question I am asking. That's what I want to know. From 1968 to 2010, MIDC was nowhere in the land record. How come they can sell that land? How did they operated all these things? And where did the money went?
No,
Who
you should,
collected the money? And
Mr. Bhandari, you should in fact ask the other question. That if somebody is coming to seek help of the revenue minister must help that Aam Aadmi get the compensation he says he hasn't got, instead of buying that land himself. Don't you realize the impropriety of this? Can't you see this is morally, ethically wrong? This is a clear case of misuse of somebody's position as a minister. Don't you get it?
I shall request you to talk with that Mr. Ukani. He is a 90-year-old man. He has lost all his hope, and he says that now I don't know how many years I am going to survive. That was the situation. You best talk with that Mr. Ukani.
Mr. Bhandari, you're not answering my question. I'm saying if somebody comes to you for help, instead of helping that person, you go and buy the land yourself. Why didn't Eknath Khadse use his position as revenue minister to help this person? Instead, he's buying that land from him. Is this not misuse of position?
That's why I am trying to request you to talk Mr. Ukani.
So Mr. Ukani is 90 years old. For the last 3 days, our correspondent has been going to Abbas Ukani's place. He is unwell. And I'm saying there are doubts about his original claim.
He is 90 years old.
Yes, so he's unwell. And there are doubts about his original claim also, because in 1971 when this land was acquired, MIDC officials have said they've made the payment. Now you've lost, very conveniently, you've lost those documents. That is very convenient. I want to bring in Anjali Damania. She did a press conference. The Maharashtra BJP says that the title was in dispute. That the person who sold this land to the MIDC in 71 is saying he didn't get money. So even though the documents show this is MIDC land, the person who originally owned this land said, this is my land because I wasn't paid any compensation, and there's no document to suggest that he was paid compensation because that's a 44-year-old document and it's lost now. I want to hear from Anjali Damania.
Rahul, that is precisely why I wanted to come in. I heard the entire conversation and I have great regards for Bhandari ji, because I feel he is one of the few people in BJP who are still working on ethics and principles. Now, I would want to tell Mr. Bhandari that when a minister takes oath, the minister clearly says that he is not supposed to divulge information, he is not supposed to give it out to anybody, and he is not supposed to misuse it. This is a part of a sacred oath that is taken by every minister.
Absolutely.
So in that case, when this Mr. Minister came to know that a 90-year-old gentleman is not getting his dues, then in that case he should have worked to ensure that Mr. Okani gets his dues. But he has no right to say that that land which is worth at least 10 times the price that he has paid, and that can be bought over by his own family. Now again, the question is, from where this 3.75 crore has come, that is another point that needs to be thoroughly investigated.
Okay, that's a very good point.
I have seen Mr.
That's
Eknath
a
Khadse,
very, very good point. You made that point. I want to put that to Madhav Bhandari, because if somebody comes to you for help, sir, as a minister, your job is to help that person. You can't just take his land. He sensed a good business opportunity. Why would anybody whose land is worth 40 crore rupees sell that land for 3.75? Mr. Bhandari, I want to know from you.
No, these questions can be answered by only by Mr. Ukani.
Sir, any
And
sensible, these are basic questions. Mr. Bhandari, I'm sorry, these are basic questions. You can't get away by saying that a 90-year-old person must answer. If this wasn't a distress sale, why would somebody sell land worth 40 crore rupees for 3.75 crore rupees? That makes no commercial sense. Of course, he's been coerced.
All these questions, they are very personal questions about regarding Mr. Ukani.
Yes, personal questions.
Mr. Ukani is the only authentic person who can answer.
Oh yes, Anjali Damania wants to come in, because if this is a sale made of his own show. So why did Eknath Khadse buy that land instead of giving him compensation? As Anjali Damania says, and you don't answer that question, Mr. Bhandari, if somebody comes to you as a government representative saying, I need your help, your job is to help him, not to buy his land yourself.
No, I want to, Mr. Bhandari, I would want to ask you one more point, that when this compensation was to be done, there was a meeting which was held. Am I coming across?
I can hear you, Anjali. Go on.
Rahul, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
So the point was that there was a meeting for which Mr. Khadse was present. And there is a meeting for which this land compensation has to be decided. Mr. Khadse is a part of that meeting. And then he goes and buys that land. This is absolutely absurd. I mean, whatever sort of an explanation which whoever wants to offer does not make any sense at all. Because it is his prime responsibility as a revenue minister, and who holds 9 ministries in the Maharashtra cabinet, to ensure that the people in his state are looked after. And here in this case, when a 90-year-old man is asking for justice, he being offered 1/10 of the price by that minister is definitely not justice.
Absolutely. This is gross injustice. This is misusing somebody's position. Clearly,